Hello everyone, Ray here. In the year of infinity displays, the Xperia XZ Premium's got a relatively old-fashioned but really stylish and gorgeous design, with the latest and greatest hardware and a whopping 960 frames per second super slow motion camera. Is it the best smartphone of the year? Let's have a look. That was a windy day, but that's why we need such a genuine piece of mirror. Just turn over your XZ Premium and there you have a portable mirror at the most natural position ever. No one's gonna think you are actually looking at yourself rather than the phone. So the chrome design's back, but what's more is the iconic boxy design. Some may say it's the absolute worst phone to handle with one hand, with those sharp edges. But some will definitely treasure the minimalist and simply gorgeous design. However, without a doubt, at a glance it is indeed an outdated, rectangular, ordinary Sony phone, with those thick bezels and weighs 191 grams for a 5.5 inches phone. But in fact, they've put 2.5D curved Gorilla Glass 5 on both the front and the back, with a better than ever build quality that the glass panels melt seamlessly smooth into the side rails, and the metal pieces on the top and the bottom. And if we take a closer look, we have to admit that Sony's once again turned the ordinary glass and metal build into a whole new level. The biggest flaw though could be the mirror chrome finish itself. You know what, a day without a cloth could be painful. Do keep that in mind. And here's the 5.5 inches XZ Premium compared to the 6.2 inches S8 Plus. 68.4% screen-to-body ratio was outdated even in 2016, but surprisingly the width of the two displays are actually more or less the same. The chin and the forehead, however, is a waste of space, definitely. So that was the design, now move on to the hardware. Water and dust resistance clearly a standard in 2017. But you will be getting the highest IP68 rating for picking up either the XZ Premium or the S8 Plus. Another smart and brilliant design on the XZ Premium is that SIM2 free SIM card and microSD card slot. LED notification light and NFC chip are also must-have features. 3.5mm headphone jack and USB Type-C port with USB on-the-go support are also standard stuffs. Wait, the dual front-facing speaker setups where the XZ Premium shines. It's also got a decent microphone that's on a par with the S8, with great noise cancellation, even on such a windy day. The front camera's also got steady shot. Hopefully you can see that. Hopefully you can hear that. It's such a windy day. And last but not least, the fingerprint sensor on the XZ Premium's not only reasonably placed, but also might be the best possible position that can be reached easily, no matter if the phone's put flat on a table or whatever. Overall, the XZ Premium might look outdated in the year of bezel-less design, but with the same choice of material and probably the same level of build quality. When it comes to designs, really depends on personal preference, but the truth is, Sony doesn't have to make any sort of compromises in the hardware perspective, just to make it bezel-less. Performance and features. We are getting Android 7.1.1 out of the box, great. But the Xperia launcher is indeed based on the last-gen interface. The close to stock Android approach though would be appreciated, and actually stock Androids become more and more mature and sophisticated, with possibly all the features we need, even like multi-window. Generally speaking, it's a really snappy and light interface. Put it right next to the S8 Plus, simple apps like the camera. The XZ Premium kills the S8 every single time. Instagram? Really close. But thanks to the really responsive interface, it jumps right into the app milliseconds faster than the S8. Together with a more responsive interface, again the XZ Premium launches Facebook a fraction of a second faster than the S8. Basically, every single app, the XZ Premium gives second-to-none responsiveness and loading speed. Driving a light system with the latest and greatest hardware, the XZ Premium is the king in real-world performance, surprisingly. And finally, launching a massive 3D game, Dynasty Warriors. The XZ Premium takes the lead thanks to the shorter animation and the incredibly responsive interface. But when it comes to game files loading, the S8 did catch up a little bit. Still, the XZ Premium entered the game first. What a surprise! Now back to the standard apps opening speed test, that the same list of apps are to be run on every single tested devices. The Snapdragon 835 4GB of RAM package delivered extraordinary performance on the XZ Premium. It's actually the fastest Android phone launched in 2017, just a couple of seconds slower than the Mate 9, and definitely much faster than the S8 Plus. Carry on to the second round. 4GB of RAM isn't necessarily groundbreaking, but Sony's RAM management is. Not only did it succeed to keep all the apps in memories, but also managed to switch between them buttery smooth. The evolution of Sony's software optimizations impressive. Navigating around the systems simply a breeze, and is joyful. Speaking of joyful, gaming on the XZ Premium is a delightful experience. It does packs a 4K display, but games are running at 1080p. And you know what, the powerful Adreno 540 GPU kills every single game at 1080p. And don't forget that dual speaker setup on the front, and that 4K display. Media consumptions again, second to nothing. More on that in a second. Now the 4K HDR display is actually my very first gadget with such a cutting-edge display, squeezing 807 pixels per inch onto a 5.5 inches display. But that's a number. In reality, under direct sunlight, all the content can be read without any issue. It's a shockingly bright display. Direct 4K YouTube streamings blow me away. I'm sure you will as well, if you've got a decent Wi-Fi network. Color saturation and contrast are also right on point. With a wide viewing angle, it's an irreversible experience. Time to put it right next to the S8 Plus. Let's ignore the fact that one is curved and one is flat, one is AMOLED and one is IPS. The key is, if we stick with a good old 16:9 ratio on the 6.2 inches display on the S8 Plus, the actual screen really stays more or less the same as the XZ Premium, with a 5.5 inches display. Interesting. But the main reason for us to put them side by side is of course check out the saturation, white balance and the dynamic range. If you prefer the punchy colors and the inky deep black on the S8 Plus, the XZ Premium might lag behind, with a slightly greenish white balance. But the difference in the dynamic range is unexpectedly huge. Inside the car, the shadows, the S8 struggles to bring up the details. On the XZ Premium, however, much more details can be found near the CD player and the FM. The camera might not be as good as our eyes, but the blue sky on the background appears to be white on the S8 Plus. Things are much more well defined on the XZ Premium. And if you prefer the warmer or reddish white balance, the manual white balance settings also got you covered, while professional display mode also brings the color gamut back to 100% sRGB. But standard mode makes a good use of the triluminous technology, yet nothing's gone crazy. However, stay away from that super vivid mode. Music listening experience on the Sony phones also better than any other phones on the market. If you are deep into the Sony ecosystem, LDAC with almost 1 MB per second Bluetooth connection to supported Sony audio systems, together with DSE-HX, it gives far crisper wireless audio output than anything else again. The dual front-facing speaker setup's also a huge plus for media consumption, and compare that to the XZ, the mids and the low frequencies are now much richer. The volumes also got a respectable increase. Unfortunately, audio output via the headphone jack is weak. I have to push the volume to almost the highest level to drive my Xperia 3 properly. Soundstage also not comparable to even mainstream flagships, say the S8. At the end of the day, Bluetooth is the future. With the in-house LDAC and DSE-HX technologies, the XZ Premium might have been the best phone for media consumption. Here we've come to the supposedly greatest and most exciting part of the phone, the camera. 19 megapixels this time around, for larger individual pixels. The front cameras also got a decent upgrade to 13 megapixels. The surprising bit though is, it's got the same outstanding steady shot capability, even on the front. With all the amazing features, we've almost forgot the autofocus. What a selfie camera! It's actually outperformed the S8 in certain areas. It's got an even wider field of view. Clarity is the same, but the XZ Premium managed to keep the sky blue, with adequate but not exaggerated skin smoothing effect. Back to the main thing, Sony's clearly worked on the camera app. Multiple continuous photo shootings now possible on Sony phone, finally. Object tracking is also the ideal method to keep fast-moving objects like that little, well, fatty fluffy in focus. And if the phone's found the main objects moving, it will automatically capture for full-size 19 megapixels photos before we hit the camera shutter button. Sony's also found a way to get rid of those rolling shutter. You're right, probably due to my fault, the XZ Premium didn't catch the focus right. But we can still get the idea of how the XZ Premium managed to stay away from those rolling shutter. And finally, 960 frames per second, super slow motion on a smartphone. And don't forget the impressive steady shot technology. Now I'm gonna take a rest, enjoy.
Open eye, feel the waves cut through me, hypnotized by the sounds I'm breathing in. Hold tight, chemicals collide. Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Dripping lights paint the skies, all because of you. Dripping lights paint the skies, only you can make me move. You can make me move. Can make me move. You can make me move. Can make me.
Now put it right next to the S8 Plus again. Under broad daylight, well, maybe in a cloudy afternoon, the S8 tends to expose the shadows a little bit more and gives a generally brighter image than the XZ Premium. On the contrary, the XZ Premium captures what we see. The slightly underexposed image also brings better details on the highlights, with more depth to it. Image processing on the XZ Premium is also much better than its predecessor. Now it captures even comparable amount of details to the S8 Plus, with noticeable but adequate noise reduction and sharpening effect. The white balance infrared sensor, however, makes stable, accurate, true-to-life white balance possible in literally all kind of scenarios. In a raining, cloudy evening, the S8 Plus corrected the bluish white balance that I was experiencing to a much warmer, pleasing, but somehow fake atmosphere. The XZ Premiums once again captured what we see. And there we have several more shots to prove the XZ Premium captures what we see, and the S8 Plus tries to please our eyes with a warmer white balance. And before we move on to low light performance, let's check out how they handle extreme colors. Bright purple, not much a difference, both of them handled really well. The mighty red, however, thanks to the infrared sensor, the XZ Premium captured all the details. The S8 Plus unfortunately struggled to render the bright red correctly, and the white balance of the whole image is off. Time to check out how they perform in low light, where Sony's flagships used to fall behind. image processing on the XZ Premium is now much more reasonable, actually top-notch. The SA Plus did capture the night brighter than it is, but the XZ Premium holds up really well in terms of clarity and sharpness. Finally, most of the time the XZ Premium delivers noise-free, but crisp and clear images even at night. It's on a par with the S8 in low-light scenes with moderate lighting. And yeah, as you might have expected, due to the limitation of the smaller pixels, the f2.0 aperture, and the lack of optical image stabilization, the XZ Premium falls behind when it comes to extreme low-light photography. Still, most of the time is comparable to the SA Plus, and it captures exactly what we see in real life, in all kind of lighting conditions. Sony's absolutely nailed it. With a great display, great camera, great processing power, pretty much great everything. Let's see if the 3230 mAh battery gives decent battery life. According to the first round of the battery life test, after 4 hours of YouTube videos playback at maximum screen brightness, just 9% of the battery was left, on the bottom of the list. But considering the super bright 4K display, the second round of the battery life test might tell the story better. After an hour of YouTube videos playback, an hour of Facebook surfing, and an hour of Clash Royale gameplay, altogether 3 hours of media consumption, 61% of the battery was left. It's actually performed even better than the SA Plus. It lasts 1 day without any problem, also with Quick Charge 3.0 to complete the package. Battery life's not necessarily the best part of the phone, but decent. A gorgeous design, flawless build quality, a fantastic 4K HDR display, a great camera, really impressive system performance, and all those Sony in-house technology, LDEC DSE-HX. That screen-to-body ratio, extreme low-light photography, and the battery life could be improved though. But if you ask me which one to pick, well, good question. Why not both? So that's it for today. Hope you all enjoyed watching this video. Like it if you liked it, and don't forget to subscribe. There are also 2 more videos here for you to watch next. See you next time.